set in stone, geopolymer. This is my 6th video in my StarForts series, and you might feel I'm a little bit off topic here, but I'm following on from some work that Paul Cook in his Hidden History series is doing regarding geopolymer. So I hope you like this one, and then I will return to my normal programming after this one. I'm making these videos to change the way you think, because almost everything you have been taught was designed to program you to stop thinking critically and accept everything you are told as truth without question. So, first of all, this is All Saints Church in Runcorn, and I believe that the stonework used is actually geopolymer, and as we go around the building we can see the stratification in the stonework. It's quite clear, and also we can see what appears to be machined grooves to get the surface flat, and these surfaces are actually crumbling away slightly now because of the age of it being weathered. The weather's got behind, and these very fine machined surfaces, they must be machined. They're not hand done. They're too regular, too precise. These machined surfaces would have been the original external face of the stone. Although we might say, if these surfaces, if the stone is geopolymer, it might not have been machined. It might actually be the internal texture on the mold itself, but it's all very precise. The next church I'm going to look at is actually across the river, across the Mersey from Runcorn, in West Bank in Widnes. And this is St Mary's Church, and again we can see here that these stones have been faced off, but it's the edge, the crust, for want of a better word, is coming away from the stone with weathering. It's almost like an eggshell, you know. You've got a tough, hard surface on the outside, and then you've got a softer bit inside, which is showing as red, which we're told is the local sandstone. Staying on the Widnes side and in West Bank, this is the slipway down to the river. It was also where the transporter bridge would actually sort of come into, and people would enter and get on and then transport over the bridge, over the Mersey. It's fascinating. That was all electrical apparently as well, back in the 1900s. So I'm going to go and pay attention now to the archway underneath the slipway. This again, red, local sandstone, but I think it's a lot more weathered, being down by the shoreline. This is the Mersey's tidal at this point as well, so we can see the tides out here in these pictures. But there's a lot of stratification, and let's have a closer look at it. So we can see that it's mostly red, and I believe that the crust, the top finish has come away, leaving a lot of the red. But we can also see there's some lighter colours in there in the stratifications, and they just swirl all over the place. Of course, it may have been sandblasted as well to get rid of the dark black sooty texture that we're told is from the industrial era. Although if you go back and look at the pictures from that age, back in the late 1800s, they're already black, they're already sooted, they haven't got any worse. You know, do we believe it? So crossing back over into Runcorn now, this is the Holy Trinity Church. And for me, the biggest point of interest for me right now was actually the door. I've got a lot of theories about the size of the people that built these buildings, And this door isn't built for a 6-foot person. It's built for like a 9-foot person, and they've cut it down a little bit. And we have these beautiful, probably original hinges. They look like big wrought iron things. It's half the width of the door is that hinge, and the bolt as well. And then we've got this fantastic lock system on the back of the door. And this reminds me of the locks that we saw in the cells at Berwick-upon-Tweed. And they were fantastic. These big doors, big heavy doors for the door, prison cell, and the lock was on the inside of the door. I mean, you're not going to put like, you're not going to put your thief. He's going to pick the lock and be out of the cell in no time at all, isn't he? The lock's on the inside, but they just didn't think about these things. And they even had a fireplace in there. I mean, why wouldn't you burn a hole in the door or just burn the door down if the fire's lit? And they come up with some elaborate stories, and put fire guards around and pretend that there's bars in the wooden walls, and it's all a load of bollocks. But we're looking at stone here. Now, this stone is fantastic. This is really top-notch stuff. I mean, this appears to be a lot harder shell on it. Again, this fantastic fine, it's almost, you'd call it machining, but I'm not sure it is machining. I think that's actually in the mould, in the actual mould of when because these are geopolymer bricks, stonework. These things are built out of geopolymer, and you can tell that from these fantastic, all the decoration around. I mean, you're not going to carve that. You're going to carve 10 of those before you get one of these right. The little nodule outside the front door here is fantastic. Again, we can see through, and we can see the stratification. Like I say, this building, the Holy Trinity Church, seems to be a lot better stonework. There's not much of it coming away. There's no the outer shell, the fascia, doesn't seem to be coming off it. That is until you come to the outside wall around the building itself. And at first I thought they'd robbed this from somewhere, or it's from somewhere else. And then I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, no, it's not. It's the same. It's come from the same brickyard, the same stoneworks. And we can see here by the front steps here on the roadside, we've got a black fascia on a couple of these here, and then we've got red ones. And I'm thinking they're different ones. And then I realised that the black fascia has actually fallen off and left the red behind, the red sandstone behind. And they'll tell us this black fascia is from the industrial, when all the smoke and the chimneys, and like I say, you find an old picture and they're just as black then as they are today. And I think the biggest clues for all of this, and why I'm saying all of this, is the gate posts. Right outside the main entrance, there's 2 fantastic gate posts. And if we look clearly on the right hand one, you can see it looks like it's been milled. But look inside the grooves when I want to do the close up on these. The milling is right into the corner. You can't achieve that, not even, well, you probably could, but you're not going to do it all the way down that pillar. That pillar's what, 5 foot, top to bottom. And it's probably what, octagonal. I'm saying this is, and then anyway, when we look then at the fantastic finish on the right hand one, and then we look at the left hand one, and it's red, but looking closer, I can still see the finish, but the rest, it seems it's come away. Like I say, like with the other churches and the main stonework on the other churches, the shell is coming off, and you can see where it's coming off and still attached and leaving this red sandstone behind. Obviously, I think the actual church building itself, is a lot better quality of finish on it, as it were. So, having been to Holy Trinity Church, we decided to go and have a closer look at the town hall, the old town hall, which they call the old police station. but the police station was actually only one room in the town hall when it was the town hall. This looks like it's been sandblasted to get rid of the black colour off the stonework at the front, and the front facade, it's yeah. How fake do you want me to tell you it is? The side wall on this building actually appeared in one of my previous videos, and I'll go around the corner. It's the far left corner as you're looking from the front here. You'll find two windows, both on the side wall and the back wall, that are at ground level. And I can't find any map that shows ground level lower. I mean, it's a bit hard to go back beyond 1700, but this ground level has been where it is for at least, well, 200 years. And why would you have a window below ground level? And then I'm going to go around the back further, and I don't know whether round the back, whether the stone hasn't been cleaned or whether it's different stonework, whether the front facade was actually being replaced at some point in the past. We'll never know, really, I don't suppose. But again, the stone at the side has got signs of deterioration where the shell has come away from the stone. The outside, the finished edge, is coming away, and that's there. And I'm just going to go back to the picture at the front of or just to the side of the old town hall. We've got the Royal pub, and this is typical of a Runcorn building in and around the town centre. It's been adjusted. There's evidence to show, pictorial evidence, photographic evidence to show that the top floors of buildings have been removed. But this is a classic example of how the windows have been reduced in size. And this is because all the floors inside are bigger than they need to be. I mean, like I say, I've done a previous video, my video number 2, on how my home that I live in, it's got 12-foot ceiling upstairs on the first floor and only 10.5-foot ceiling on the ground floor, which, I mean, to me is totally illogical and unheard of when you're building. And then, I've got I believe our current ground floor is actually at least first floor, if not second floor, and the cellar would have been possibly the ground floor or even the first floor, who knows. There's a lot of soil deposited around here. So the windows on the Royal, as I say, and with many buildings on Main Street in Runcorn, the windows have been made smaller. And on the Royal here, they're actually half the original height. I don't believe that those windows were built at that size. I believe the whole wall, the top floor, the wall has been reduced, the roof has been lowered, but that's another story, because today we're actually looking at geopolymer stonework. This is what I'm calling modern geopolymer. And now I'm going to go and show you some geopolymer at the top of Runcorn, right on the top of the hill at Runcorn. I'm just going to apologise for the sound on the next section of this video, which was done live on top of the hill. It was a bit windy. Sorry. Okay, so we have these stones here. Nice bit of geopolymer. And going around here, I think we're going to be entering the quarry area. Again, it's very geopolymer. Just so much to see. I think I'm just going to have to do a little bit more video. So this is what, about 9-10 foot tall, this section here, from the base down up to the top there. So this point is about, this line here across the middle is about 6 foot off the ground, and if I pull back, you'll see can't even get the top in. I'm standing too close. But yeah, 6 foot to that line in the middle. So what, that's another 6 foot above or more. Nice straight lines, level lines. This path's going downhill. Again, I think we're... I've never actually walked down this path before. I've not lived here that long in Runcorn. I'm on Runcorn Hill. And I think that's probably a modern metal bracket, probably to put a gate in to stop people from going in the quarry when it was allegedly a quarry. Nice joints. And some more blocks over this side. These are fairly big blocks as well. And onwards. And it all goes on behind the bushes as well. And this block work just sort of turns a corner here. Probably about 110 degrees. Going the corner, there to there. And then it just drops off the land. And hopefully you can see this, you know, the path goes down there. And yeah, and it's all megalithic blocks behind. And it would actually appear like this wall here actually extends over where the path is now. And here we've got a bit of block that's come out off the side. Let's see, the striation marks are sort of like horizontal. This would be the orientation of the block as it was in the wall. And that's come out of there. Probably because the roots of the tree have pushed it out into the, you know, they've got into the little cracks. And just off the top of Runcorn Hill, we've got a very commanding view over the Mersey estuary. We've got Hale Bank over there, and the lighthouse down on the end of there. Hopefully I'm going the right way. Zooming in, there it is. We've got Ince, and we're Ellesmere Port's over there, and this is heading out now. The top bit you can't see past the steam, the old ICI, whatever they call themselves now, over towards Liverpool and the mouth of the Mersey into the Irish Sea. So yeah, so we got this nice commanding view right over all the river over there. And if I turn around, got a nice bit of level area here, but at the back of the level area, well, we've got this nice big wall. This wall of rock, of stone, geopolymer. So I'm now a little bit higher. I'm actually stood above that geopolymer wall, which is just on this tree line here. You can see that that's at the top of the wall that I was just looking at there. And this is what they call at the top of the hill, the viewpoint. And there's not much to say. The usual. But we know underneath it there is some major walls and stonework going on, because it's visible from the edges. And this is just such a commanding view over the whole of the estuary. You'd see it if the steam wasn't there, but okay. Just looking back the other way slightly, we've got a reservoir right on the top. That's obviously above the stone walls, the big block walls I was looking at earlier, where I was saying the ladder dropped off, which was just below there. So there's two reservoirs on the top there, right at the top of the hill. I hate to think what's underneath there. I'd love to know. We're down to the now, back towards the bandstand, where I've got an appointment at 10 o'clock as it's Sunday. Standinthepark.org. And just some clues, I was just stood over there on that bit of a hill there, and we've got stone under the ground, obviously wearing thin. The ground's wearing thin, and we can see the stonework underneath. Probably a floor of some sort from somewhere, or possibly the top of the wall. And this is Runcorn Hill Bandstand. Yeah, we'll go into that a bit later. And that's just in front of the car park next to the reservoirs. We'll go flying into Liverpool Airport. So as we make way down from the car park towards the bandstand, we have all this lovely stratified, well, blockwork. That's really all you can say. Those are the little tiny bricks, you know, that's probably 18 inches, that one in the middle there, 18 inches across. And yeah, and then we have the big blocks all stratified, and then we have like a 90-degree bend and another wall, which again it's got a 90-degree bend going the other way around the corner. And there's the bandstand. I'll see my friends in a minute. And this goes, oops, around the corner, but uneasily under the foot. And more right angle corners. So, while I'm stood at Stand in the Park, Jules decided to show me some more stone that I was unaware of. However, while Jules was pointing out little holes in the stonework, I was more interested in what was the square slot behind her head. There was a few of these here. The spacing of these peg holes, you could almost say they're joists, positions, would indicate a roof rather than a suspended floor, as they're too wide for a suspended floor. But the rest of this stone is basically really flat, and we've got some nice 90-degree bends going around the corner here, and then behind all this vegetation behind, and yeah, lovely 90-degree bends. And I'll do a bit closer now. Striation. I'm not sure whether this is tooling or whether it's just pour. Like you say, you're going to have to face it off, you're going to have to put some marks in there, right? And as I say, nice 90-degree. And so we're behind the tennis courts here at Runcorn Hill Park, and we've got some nice big blocks, very straight edges, nice corners, and lots of striation. And then we've got this stone wall putting up to it, and I'm actually stood on a set of concrete steps. So I'll just go back down and show you. Concrete steps to nowhere. Who knows? Someone does. But they ain't telling us. And so I'm below the car park, and we've got the stone walls over there with the corners, and it actually continues behind the vegetation here, and got some another big corner and corners there. And this, I don't know whether this is striation, it looks like it to me. What do you think? Wall along the front. Some concrete steps out of the park, and some concrete steps over there behind the tennis courts that I did a little clip on. And so we've got the concrete steps over there, going to nowhere. And then we've got some blocks here with some nice, interesting gaps, vertical. I don't know, are they poured in sections? And some concrete steps again joining onto that. But yeah, all very interesting. Not being poured at a level, doesn't look like it. Not even being marked up, grooved. I don't know what you call that. Finishing off before the finishing layer. That's not even at a level, but it's at a level with the striation from the looks of it. I'm now at the lowest point in Runcorn. This is the Manchester Ship Canal, and you might find some nice, interesting stonework down here. As I said, this is Manchester Ship Canal. I actually believe that all this bank on here, which is sort of like the Runcorn side of it rather than the riverside of it, I believe that this was formed part of the wall of a StarFort, basically, at sea level, well, just above sea level. You're at kind of high tide level. And yeah, I believe they've gone straight through this wall, removed it, and used part of it to make the bank of the Manchester Ship Canal. Now, this video was done earlier this year, a bit less vegetation, and you can quite clearly see the striation, and as we get to the end of this video, the brick wall covering the geopolymer. Here we go, just there.